In a quiet laboratory in San Jose, California, beneath the cold glow of fluorescent lights, a small white capsule rolls slowly across a glass table. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary pill, but inside lies a feat of bioengineering that could rewrite the history of modern medicine. For decades, the pharmaceutical world has struggled with a single unsolved challenge: how to deliver protein based drugs such as antibodies or peptides, not by injection, but by mouth. The company that stepped forward to conquer this seemingly impossible task is Rani Therapeutics. Founded by the legendary biomedical engineer Mir Imran, Rani Therapeutics is not an ordinary biotech startup. Mir Imran's name is woven into the history of medical innovation. He is credited with designing one of the first implantable cardiac pacemakers, a device that changed the trajectory of modern cardiology. Today, his son Talat Imran carries that legacy as CEO. Together, they are building not just a company, but a vision, a world where injections become obsolete and patients can take even the most complex biologics as simple pills. At the center of this vision is a capsule called the RaniPill, a device so small it can fit in the palm of a hand, yet sophisticated enough to rival a syringe. Once swallowed, the capsule survives the harsh acidity of the stomach, traveling safely into the small intestine. There, a chemical reaction triggers internal pressure that fires a microinjector, a microscopic needle, which delivers the drug directly into the intestinal wall. The patient feels no pain, but the medicine enters the bloodstream almost as efficiently as an injection. This is not science fiction. This is the foundation upon which Rani Therapeutics was built. On July 31st, 2021, Rani Therapeutics went public on the NASDAQ, raising about $70 million at an IPO price of $11 per share. Investors were intrigued, but cautious. A technology this revolutionary also came with enormous uncertainty: regulatory hurdles, manufacturing complexity, and the unknown economics of scaling a capsule that doubles as a miniature robot. Within months, the stock declined. Analysts called it a company with a brilliant idea but no path to revenue. Yet inside Rani's laboratories, progress continued relentlessly. In February 2022, the company unveiled RaniPill HC, a high-capacity version capable of carrying more than 5 times the payload of the original, up to 20 milligrams of drug substance. To put that in perspective, that's roughly equivalent to a full injection of a protein-based therapy. Traditional oral drug technologies have always failed because large molecule biologics are destroyed by stomach acid or too large to be absorbed through the gut. But RaniPill HC bypassed the stomach entirely. By using mechanical injection from within, it transformed the human body into its own delivery system. That same year, Rani reported phase 1 clinical data for RT-102, an oral formulation of parathyroid hormone for osteoporosis, and RT-111, an oral form of ustekinumab, a monoclonal antibody used in Crohn's disease and psoriasis. The results stunned observers. RT-111 achieved higher blood concentration levels than its injectable counterpart, something no one had seen before in oral biologics. It was a potential proof of concept that Rani's platform worked not only in theory, but in humans. Still, success in the lab didn't translate into success on Wall Street. Rani's annual revenue hovered near $1 million, while losses topped tens of millions. The company was still deep in the clinical stage, with no commercial products on the horizon. Normally, biotech firms at this stage seek financial lifelines by licensing their technology or co-developing with large pharmaceutical partners. But for years, Rani had not announced any such partnership. Analysts grew skeptical. If the technology is so good, one wrote, why hasn't Big Pharma moved in? Then in the fall of 2025, everything changed. Rani Therapeutics announced a deal with Chugai Pharmaceutical, a Japanese pharma powerhouse and a subsidiary of Roche. The total value up to $1 billion. The terms included $10 million upfront, up to $75 million in development milestones, $100 million in sales milestones, and 5 additional program options for future expansion. The market reaction was instantaneous. Shares of Rani skyrocketed within hours, rising several 100% in a single trading day. Trading volume exploded, and suddenly everyone was talking about Rani again. But the celebration quickly gave way to confusion and suspicion. Deals of this magnitude are typically reserved for phase 3 or pre-commercial stage assets, not for a small biotech still running early phase 1 trials. In the world of pharmaceuticals, a billion-dollar agreement with a phase 1 company is almost unheard of. The anomaly raised an obvious question: why would Chugai pay so much so early? Even more puzzling was what the company didn't say. Rani's press release disclosed the total potential value, but omitted critical details. Which molecules were involved? What diseases were being targeted? What milestones would trigger payments? What exactly were the 5 additional programs? In normal industry practice, such information is always disclosed, especially for a billion-dollar deal. Here it was not. Some investors speculated that the contract might not be as solid as it appeared. That much of the up to $1 billion figure represented conditional future payments, not guaranteed cash. In other words, the headline number could be more about perception than liquidity. If true, then the stock's meteoric rise was fueled by narrative, not fundamentals. Around the same time, Rani's board of directors underwent rapid restructuring. New members were appointed while others resigned in quick succession. Typically, such changes occur gradually following a major partnership as governance structures evolve. But in Rani's case, the timing was immediate, an unusual move that hinted at internal shifts linked to the Chugai deal. It suggested that this partnership may have involved more than simple technology sharing. Perhaps it touched on corporate control or capital strategy. Then came another twist. Rani announced a co-development agreement with South Korea's ProGen to create an oral version of PG-102, a dual GLP-1/GLP-2 agonist for obesity treatment. If successful, this would bring Rani into the world's fastest-growing pharmaceutical market, obesity management, currently dominated by injectables like semaglutide. The potential was enormous. But once again, no financial terms were disclosed. And not long after, Rani raised another $60 million through a private placement. This move raised eyebrows across the investment community. Normally, when a company receives major upfront payments from a partnership, it strengthens its balance sheet and avoids immediate capital raises. But Rani did the opposite. If the Chugai money had truly arrived, why seek more financing so soon? The timing suggested something deeper. Perhaps that the actual inflow of cash was smaller or slower than investors were led to believe. Each new development, the massive undisclosed deal, the abrupt governance changes, the unexplained fundraising, added another layer to the growing mystery surrounding Rani Therapeutics. Was this a story of genuine breakthrough innovation finally being recognized by the pharmaceutical elite? Or was it an elaborate dance between science, capital, and perception? In October 2025, Rani announced it would present preclinical data on semaglutide oral delivery using the RaniPill platform. If successful, it could herald a future where even the most complex peptide drugs, like those used in diabetes and obesity, could be taken as pills instead of injections. Yet investors, now more cautious, wondered whether the data would confirm Rani's scientific brilliance or simply extend its narrative one more chapter. The journey of Rani Therapeutics remains one of the most fascinating enigmas in modern biotech. Its technology is elegant, its ambitions bold, and its communication often incomplete. Inside that capsule lies not only a drug, but a story about trust, transparency, and the thin line that separates innovation from speculation. Perhaps the true mystery is not in what Rani has created, but in what it has chosen not to reveal. The Valuester channel invites all listeners to share tips or insights about publicly listed, pre-IPO, or private stocks and crypto assets you are watching. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Your suggestions help shape our next deep dive investigation. To everyone who watches, subscribes, likes, comments, and shares our videos, thank you for being part of our growing community. Your support keeps this work alive, and will continue bringing you stories that look beyond the surface. This was Valuester.